Okay, so this is my Game Maker project. So it's everything in all these folders down here. So these are all the sprites for all the object images. So I've got loads of them. I just zoom in on one to show you. So you know all the original pixels. Loads of those for everything. And then I've got the sounds. To do it, for example. And then I've got all the backgrounds. So this is like the backgrounds of the different rooms. So you know, like that. All of those, loads and loads and loads. Then I've got my custom font that I made for all the text. It's just Courier, but white and small. And here's all my objects for the journal. So I've got my journal manager, which all the variables just to bring up the images when you've actually seen the thing in question. So it appears on the journal. And then so all the individual objects which just have a sprite attached from up here. So it will call those to appear on the pages which sort of look like that. So they'll just appear here. So then I've got all these, which are like objects which, for the cutscenes, they'll just direct the cutscenes to the next cutscene and to the right room if it's the end of the cutscene by pressing space. So I had to like create different rooms for each of those to get that working. That was the easiest way I could think of. And then I've got all my NPCs. So each of them have some variables set up here, and the text that they say in an array. And I'll allow them to get the text box to go away. And then, so calling the text box. So, you know, when you meet it, you press space, it'll reference all this stuff for the set text box object that I will show you in a minute. And then it will destroy it when you're not touching them. And this is for the little question mark that pops up when you are in, touching it, colliding with it, that's the word. And then this is to play the sound and set some variables so it only plays once, so it doesn't keep playing every time you press space. So basically all these are just copies for each of the characters each time they say something different, so they each have different text in them and a different sprite if that's needed. And I've got a few for the other random ones. And then I've got all my object thing images. So if it's like an actual view of an image that pops up, I've got a little thing here that will bring up the object when you interact with it. It's just an object. And then for things that change in the room, like the rubble that goes away when you speak to the right person, I've got like a little object that manages that, destroys it when it needs to be destroyed and stuff. And it's the same with the key, which opens different doors and stuff. Yep, so these are just the sketch is in the journal. For the actual text boxes that pop up when you interact with an object, I've got it like the NPC, but just without a sprite, so it'll just be on the detail on the background, and I'll just place the invisible object over the top. So they've got different things that Digby will say in like a different text box, which is a different colour and appears in a slightly different area. So yeah, I think that's all those ones. They basically do the same thing. And then I've got all my like extra stuff, like the, I don't know, testing things, the fade between rooms that I've set to like go at a certain speed, like the fade to black, and it destroys itself. Title page, the bridge that's set in front of the player so it looks like your player's behind it. Some things I was testing that didn't work, like slopes. And then this is like all my, the player, so I've got the player with like its variables for speed and stuff, and it's got nothing in it. So this sets up the camera view. This is all the sort of platforming physics. Not that there's really much platforming, but just the controls either way, the gravity, so that means you don't fall off. Playing the sound when the footstep sound when he's moving, and not when he's not, and collisions set up here, and vertical collisions which I haven't used, and then controlling the sprites that play when he walks left right or is just idle. And I think that's redundant. So my wall objects, they're actually invisible, so I can set up the walls, but they're just basically just within the background, but I just set the invisible walls. Things to call up the inventory, which is called the journal now, when you press a certain button, and to change the pages to the character page. The different doors which I set up, so I've set them so that I can change the destination in the actual room creation code, and they got noises and stuff, and the collisions with the character, so it'll go when the character's on it. So there's 3 of those, and then this is my like core game code with all my global variables here, and some debug stuff which I'm not using. My text box, which creates, so it sort of sets itself to the sprite and it will create the right text box for the sprite, which, yeah, so this is like the sort of typewriter effect of the individual characters coming down at once, and then destroying it when you move away, and then this is actually drawing the text box from the sprite that I made here. So this is just the NPC text box and then the Digby's thoughts text box. So I think that's it for that. I've got the actual things that control the sound, so that they play it when you enter certain rooms and then stop the previous one from playing as well. And then I've got these little overlay sprites which they're just black, so it's like as if shadows, but I have turned down the opacity in the room. So then we got rooms finally. So yeah, title room, and they all basically look like that with a bunch of hidden things to control stuff, and the creation code sort of looks like this, setting the different doors and the position when you come out of the door, and some variables and stuff, so that it knows which room it's in. So basically all like that. These are the collisions, so you don't fall off. And then I've got some cutscene ones that are just an image and the thing to take it to the next one. Yep, just that's this journal, and then a bunch of test stuff in there. And I think that's it. And I'll just cut this off. Yep, that's it. Okay.